Welcome along to our monthly look back at all things Google Stadia, which celebrated its 1-year anniversary or birthday just a few weeks ago. For regular viewers out there, this is still our show dedicated to all of the news on Google Stadia over the past month, be that games, leaks, or anything else in between. So without any further ado, this is Save State for Google Stadia for November 2020. Thanks for watching 9to5Google here on YouTube. Remember to thumbs up, hit subscribe, and then tap the bell icon to be among the first to watch our upcoming videos. It's hard to believe that Stadia has been available to founders for 12 whole months at this stage. Such is post-COVID life. It's been a year of ups and downs, although unfortunately those downs do seem far more pronounced. The bottom line is that Stadia is a far better service now than it was at launch. The first year has sometimes felt very much like an early preview phase, but now it's time for Google to really kick on and make good on a number of early promises before the service officially went live in November last year. Plenty of milestones of course have been hit, games are now slowly starting to accrue, and the future of Stadia looks much brighter, at least at this stage of November. Understandably, there are fears that Google might pull the plug, but given the massive financial investment, and indeed damage that would be done by walking away, Google needs to be in it for the long haul. One saving grace though, and for many of you out there watching, is that Google's track record of killing paid for services is actually among the best in the industry. There are very few paid for services that Google has cut short beyond many free apps and platforms, or hardware that has problems. Put it this way, gaming is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and Google clearly wants a piece of that on top of the billions it makes from YouTube, Android, and various other endeavours. Cloud gaming is an inevitability, with very few companies able to match the rollout and network capabilities of Google. Being among the first and most established cloud gaming services means that Google can effectively carve out the market ahead of the competition. It's right to be worried about the plug being pulled, but we think that Stadia is likely to be around at least for the near future at the very least. Let's get back to the current news, as 2020 is nearly over and the bulk of Stadia titles have now already hit the online storefront, but there are some notable games that are still yet to arrive. November 2020 did see some high-profile games finally get released on Stadia, with many being highly anticipated. That's not all though, as ahead of the holiday season, Google has some discounts available on a wide selection of titles as part of the Black Friday sales period. If you wanted to grab a bargain, now is probably the time to do so. So 6 brand new games were added to the admittedly small Stadia game library in November 2020, which isn't exactly stellar, but they're better than none at all. There are always some delays, and of course EA confirmed that Madden and FIFA 21 will be released early in the new year. Sports fans will just have to make do with the very small pool of titles already available until then. The biggest new addition this month has been that of Ubisoft's Viking simulator Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which sees you pillage the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms of Britain. Some of the issues with Assassin's Creed Odyssey are said to have been addressed in this title, but we're not quite far enough into the game to really determine if that is the case. If you always wanted to see a Viking do some parkour, then of course this is the game for you. With Star Wars hype still pretty high thanks to the fantastic Mandalorian Season 2, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order lets you dive right into the expanded universe as Jedi Padawan Cal Kestis. This third-person action adventure title supposedly took inspiration from the Batman Arkham Asylum series, but fuses lightsaber combat with force powers in puzzles and more on top of that. Fallen Order achieved some impressive review scores when it debuted on consoles last year, making it a welcome addition to the Stadia library. Pac-Man has also made his bow on Stadia, with the ambiguous yellow blob chomping his way online in November this month. Mega Tunnel Battle is the Battle Royale version of Pac-Man you probably didn't ask for, but it's arrived anyway, and it shares a ton of DNA with Super Bomberman R Online, which either you love or hate accordingly. Right in time as well for the holiday season, Family Feud and Just Dance 2021 also arrive on Stadia. Now for hardcore gamers, you'll likely turn your nose up at such frivolities, but these are the kinds of family-focused titles that are really much needed on the platform. Ari and the Secret Seasons was the final new addition to the Stadia library for November 2020. It's an adventure game that feels like a fusion of Avatar and with more than a hint of The Legend of Zelda. Oh, how we'd love to see Zelda on Stadia. But alas, it'll never happen. What about Stadia Pro subscribers? Well, for November 2020, you still have time to add the Nazi sniping simulator Sniper Elite 4. Risk of Rain 2, Sundered Eldritch Edition, The Gardens Between and Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek to your game libraries, all for your $9.99 a month subscription fee. December 2020 will also bring a new lot of titles for you to enjoy, including the Hired Assassin Simulator Hitman 2, Monster Jam Steel Titans, Into the Breach, Secret Neighbor and Kine. With some super quick calculation, that is still 31 titles that are all available to Stadia Pro subscribers as of December 1st, with Super Hot, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, Little Nightmares, Hello Neighbor and Super Bomberman are online, set to leave the paid for Pro tier. That also includes Destiny 2, which is now technically free to play for everyone. This wouldn't be Save State without talking about new features, as Google adds yet more key additions to the service, and it feels like the 1 year birthday has been a catalyst to bring about more changes than usual. Despite being almost an essential for most gaming services, Stadia finally gained instant messaging in November 2020. Hey, a year is a long time to wait for yet another Google messaging platform, and it probably should have been available from day one, but it is now available. It's a reasonably solid implementation with the ability to send messages across all of your devices. There's a new tab in your Stadia side panel that lets you switch between messages and other contact methods, including party chat, etc. A huge new feature for families is undoubtedly family sharing, which is now available. This allows you to create a group of up to 6 people who will have access to your Stadia game library. This includes not only games that were directly purchased, but also games that have been redeemed with a Pro subscription, as we previously discovered. That means one person with Stadia Pro can share games they've redeemed with other users who lack that subscription, all for one monthly fee. That said, when trying to access a game in Stadia Family Sharing, it's important to note that only one person can be playing a specific title at any given time. Stadia for Android and iOS now offers notifications for new game releases and new Stadia features. It's basically as simple as that. Probably not a massive new feature, but when sharing a screenshot on mobile, you'll get an enhanced sharing option that will let you select whether a link is only available to the person you shared it with or anyone with the link. Like we said, not a big addition, but a notable one nonetheless. Another notable clip recording feature is that Stadia now will record voice chat when you capture an in-game clip. Now, of course, this isn't live or supported in every single game, but certain clips will pick up in-game voice chat on your videos. Stadia Party voice chat is not included though. Another one of those finally moments for Stadia, as every player now has their own profile page, which details things like your game library and associated achievements and your friends list. This page will vary based upon a user's privacy settings though. You'll also get to see options to add and remove a friend, invite them to a party, or report or block someone. You can even see a user's achievements from this screen for each game, again so long as privacy settings allow that. As for upcoming features, there have been some really big announcements that are well worth getting excited for, but we've also done a little digging into the Stadia Android app to find out what else might be arriving that Google hasn't told us just yet. A playable version of Stadia for iOS is set to come, and this was probably the biggest upcoming announcement for Stadia in quite a while. And because of Apple's tough enforcement of its App Store policies, this has obviously meant a sad lack of a playable version of Google Stadia as we see it now on iOS. That is set to change though very soon, as public testing of a dedicated progressive web app is set to start within several weeks, although no accurate timeframe details were shared when announced. This effectively means that Stadia will be playable on iOS via Safari in the coming weeks, and of course when we get the chance to do so, we will give you a full hands-on. State Share is also set to get expanded by being integrated directly into Stadia's screenshot and video capture capabilities. In Stadia for Android version 2.42, we found that Google has essentially found a way to connect State Share, a feature that lets you jump into a specific place in a Stadia game, directly into screenshots and videos captured by the platform. Game streaming does use a lot of data, and there's no getting around that, but as spotted by the official Stadia subreddit, we could see Stadia adopt or eventually support the AV1 codec to provide up to 30% better performance when playing on low bandwidth connections. This might not mean a great deal to many of you out there, but in summary, this codec is more efficient. In turn, that means that your game stream looks better while simultaneously using less data overall, when at lower resolutions than 480p for instance. This could be a win-win for everyone and would make it much more palatable to play on mobile data connections. Looking ahead, there weren't a ton of new game announcements, but there were quite a few tidbits in wake of that 1 year anniversary of the platform launching. Stadia Director of Games Jack Buser spoke to Mobile Syrup and confirmed that over 400 new games are set to head to the platform. They'll supposedly come from over 200 different developers, which does hint that the bulk of these games will come from independent studios, although he noted that 2021 is set to be an incredible year for Stadia. So that about rounds off the 5th installment of Google Stadia Save State. If you're an ardent Google Stadia gamer, be sure to let us know down in the comment section below what you're excited for, be that game, feature, or platform update, or just what you've been playing over the past month. You can also find my gamer tag down there if you do want to hop into some games at any point in the future too. But with all of that said, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, this is Damien with 95 Google saying thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.